Was there actually another broken Boros card in the Lord of the Rings set that everyone missed? Let's find out. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today we are going to be revisiting Winota Joiner of Forces. Now this was a deck list that I helped kind of brew and develop and get kind of the word out there about. Essentially, the game plan is to use token generators like Goblin Rabblemaster to generate a couple of creatures, preferably on turn 1, but maybe on turn 2, and then have those creatures trigger your Winota. Whenever a non-human goblin token you control attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library, you can put a human creature from among them onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. It's indestructible until the end of turn, and you put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So notably here, for those of you who haven't played this before, Winota doesn't have to attack herself. So you can just curve, like Ancient Tomb, Chrome Mox, or Spirit Guide, Rabblemaster into turn 2 Winota, and legitimately kill your opponent on turn 2. And if you don't believe me, I've got a 5.0 video, maybe multiple 5.0 videos to prove it. The strategy is powerful. It's a little more glass cannony than something like traditional Boros Initiative, but it's very strong. So Michael donated to make today's video happen, and they kind of had a thought about deck building in kind of this Boros Stompy, Boros Initiative, Boros Winota wheelhouse. And Cavern of Souls, in their opinion, is one of the better cards in the mana base because it allows you to resolve your Winota or your Winitiative? Yes, your Winitiative creature without any problems. And counterspells are really popular in the format as they're in the tempo decks, the control decks, and sometimes even the combo decks. But Cavern of Souls doesn't play well with cards like Fable of the Mirrorbreaker and Fourth Eorlingas, which can be a little bit awkward. And this is where Eomer comes in. Eomer, King of Rohan, is a human, so it's castable off Cavern of Souls. It's a human, so it's findable via Winota. And boy, there's a lot of words on this card. So it's double striking. It enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it for each other human you control. At minimum, that's probably Winota, but if Winota is triggering off of, say, 3 creatures attacking, this might be entering with like 4 counters or something like that. So let's say it's just a moderate 2. That's a 4/4 double striker that you find off of Winota. It can make you the monarch, and it can deal damage equal to its power to any target. So this is something that is really going to allow you to close games quickly. And if you don't close the game, guess what? You're the monarch, and your opponent is probably not attacking while you're producing as much power as you are in this deck and as many bodies as you are in this deck list. So conceptually, this looks like a crazy Winota hit. 5 mana is a little expensive in terms of hard casting it, but this is a reasonable plan B if things do go wrong. Let's take a look at the full deck list here. Alright, so here's the deck list in all its glory. So the primary game plan is Rabblemaster or Warboss on either turn 1 or 2 into preferably Winota, but you're A-okay just jamming an initiative creature as well. If you'll notice here, we're pretty light on actual lock pieces. It's just Chalice of the Void. The plan versus combo is kill your opponent, and that's very realistic for this deck list. You don't need like Game 1, Magus of the Moon, Blood Moon, Thalias, things of that nature, because Winota, not always, but almost always represents a turn 2 kill. If you can just go Rabblemaster or Warboss into Winota, it is incredibly consistent, and probably even more so now with Eomer. In terms of a rules interaction, that maybe is not immediately obvious. So Winota goes and puts a human creature from among the cards you revealed onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. If you hit a new Winota and your Winota is currently not attacking, you can go ahead and make that swap. Or alternatively, if your Winota is attacking but is not indestructible, that's a thing that you can do as well. Previously, Winota was bugged so that the creatures you put in weren't actually indestructible. We'll see if that was fixed. I think it was, but I'm not keeping track of all the bugs on Magic Online. That's somebody else's job. Sideboard looks pretty clean here, like very clear directions for things people are trying to answer, with some respect being paid to like the One Ring and Orcish Bowmasters with Cast into the Fire. Yeah, so I think we're ready to just battle. If you end up wanting to try this one out, check out the link to Mox Field down in the video description. And if you need to buy any of these cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. Let's battle. Okay, this hand can play Legion Warboss into Winota, right? Goblin Soldier, Human Warrior. No, it can't. Am I keeping it assuming that I draw one mana source to make it happen? Actually, it's pretty awkward, right? Like if I go City Spirit Guide Warboss on one, it has to be a free source of mana. And if I just play Cavern of Souls out, I lose the second city. I think I will ship this one. Okay. This is comfortably 4 mana on turn 1. If I do this for Caves of Chaos Adventure, this is a very reasonable 6-card hand, and I just ditched the Chalice. And we are on the beatdown. We're not doing the cool, sexy Winota thing this game. One says, yo, how's it going? What spicy brew you got for today? You'll find out. I mean, I hope they get to see the spicy part. That's what we make the videos for, right? Swords to Plowshares is going to be really awkward. Not much I can do about that right now. So if my opponent Swords to Plowshares, my initial initiative creature, they can take the initiative with Mother of Runes. I'm still probably just jamming. Let's do it. Spirit Guide. Up red. Like we're red heavier. I forgot to swap my planes. I think there's a feature where you can now set your default basic planes art. I saw a tweet about it. I just never figured out how to actually do it. My opponent has asked me to be gentle. No. All right, fantastic. We did not just eat Swords to Plowshares. So we're going aggro here. Chromox is a very reasonable draw. And Seasoned Dungeoneer just gets to get in there through Mother of Runes protection. I like to put a Chromox into my graveyard, probably. And we're just looking to close this game before my opponent can do something cool. I'm not going to play Chromox this turn. I can potentially be punished by Athalia. But I don't really know if I need / want to. Yeah. Play out a creature yet. Or sorry, a Chromox yet. Like, it's specifically the draw of Ancient Tomb that punishes me for not playing Chromox. But if I don't hit specifically Ancient Tomb, I don't really want to make that play. Okay, I guess City of Traders does the same thing. Send them. Do I want to put Caves of Chaos Adventure into my graveyard? No. No, I do not. My opponent is at 7. I will trap my opponent and put them to 2. We're going to put this on human. Since I know I have yet another initiative creature coming, I am now comfortable. Because of Wasteland, it might need to be this one under here. That's awkward. Yeah, that's awkward. But it's correct. Anyway, I'm comfortable playing out another initiative creature. And this way, I've got another initiative creature through Wasteland next turn. Okay. That's pretty good. I'll take a little damage here. I just have initiative creatures the next 2 turns, and Throne of the Dead 3 probably ends up beating my opponent. We'll see what their logic on the +1/+1 counters is. I can see it putting on Thalia to make a good first striker. I can also see putting it here to better play around like some sort of main decked removal spell. We'll draw a card for Archives. It is a land. The game probably ends this turn if I had chosen to play Chrome Mox out in avoidance of Thalia. Obviously, I was not convinced that that was necessarily the correct thing to do. Oh, getting Solitude's so good here. Yep. Yeah, there is some degree of danger here. Just getting Throne of the Dead 3 on my turn is incredibly good. Yep. No attack with Werefox Bodyguard. I'm not saying that's wrong, but you have extra bodies left over. So it's not like a goblin token is getting in or anything. Not saying it's wrong, but I would have attacked. All right, I don't have a non-human white creature in this build. So human should be fine. Let's Caves of Chaos Adventurer and Throne of the Dead 3. Eomer deals damage equal to its power to any target. Strong. All right. Target player becomes the monarch. That's me. Target player takes damage. That's you. Okay, Eomer in game 1 slaps. The spice. Got him. My opponent has given it a chef's kiss. They're having a good time. So conceptually, I like Fury and Cast into the Fire here. Chalice of the Void can probably go out. Stopping Source of Plowshares is nice, but my opponent has things like Solitude and Werefox Bodyguard that are removal at higher CMCs. Now, there is another thing that I can consider. I don't think I'm going to do it, but I'm going to talk about it. Magus of the Moon to specifically shut off Karakas, because like Winota and Eomer are legends, is a thing that I should consider. But my opponent didn't reveal Yorion, right? So they are a 60 card build. So they are probably on 3 copies of Karakas. I don't think I am going to mess around with stopping that. But it's possible that boarding out something like Lilia for Magus is correct, and I'm going to sit here and think about it for a second. Is Lilia a Spirit Warrior? Lilia is a Spirit Warrior, so it triggers Winota. Maybe for a game where I'm on the draw, I do make that swap. But I'm not necessarily sure that I love the swap on the play. I fully expect to lose the game where I'm on the draw, just FYI. My opponent's endgame is pretty scary, even if they're not a Yorion build. Auto mulligan. So, Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, War Boss, or Ancient Tomb. Oh, fuck. The imprint color for Chrome Mox is wrong. If I put back Seasoned Dungeoneer and I draw like any colored card, I just have War Boss into Winota. Or I could just give up the Chrome Mox and keep Winota as a finisher. Alternatively, I just fucking play Seasoned Dungeoneer on turn 1. This hand's tough. It's obviously a keep. Ancient Tomb, Chrome Mox, War Boss. This is 4 mana. This plays Seasoned Dungeoneer on 1. And then plays Winota on 2, even though the creature types are wrong. Or I'm going to keep this and throw back Plateau. And I've got some flexibility in how I can play this. Another Chrome Mox. I think I'm taking the initiative to get the next land drop. Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, Chrome Mox. I think I'm imprinting War Boss. But that's very unclear to me. So this lets me have red and white mana. Get the plains. I kind of assume that this gets removed in the next turn cycle in one way or another, and then I play Winota, hopefully surprising my opponent. There's just kind of one card off from just having it all. And going all in on Legion War Boss after my opponent leads on... Ooh, cheeky. This is not a search for Throne of the Dead 3, it's a reveal. We're already past Secret Entrance, which is good. We'll be going to Lost Well here to scry. Battle is not great. Caves of Chaos Adventurer is probably above average. We will take that and play it for turn. So, we getting cheeky? Am I diagonally cutting across to make Leonin Arbiter attack? I kind of want a 4/1 skeleton since I have a Winota in hand. I'm going to say no and go down this side. Note that Leonin Arbiter is symmetrical, so my opponent taking the initiative might not end up giving them a basic land, which is cool. Okay, that's fine. My opponent quickly tapped 2 lands and untapped them. What does that mean? Does that mean Stoneforge Mystic, and they also have Leonin Arbiter awkwardly? Could mean that. Okay, what on earth do you have that will deal 1 damage to my Caves of Chaos Adventurer? Walking Ballista? My opponent's played their land drop, so it can't be Orcish Bowmasters. Do you have a Samwise and this is just a free attack for you? Well, it's not free because then you don't get Wasteland back. Alright. I'm blocking. Show me what you got. Okay, it is Stoneforge Mystic and there was some awkwardness there. Sure, that's fine. I am fully expecting to power through a Caldra with Winota. Or a Batterskull, that's fine. Alright, 4/1. Goblin Rabblemaster. Playing that pre-combat doesn't probably result in me pushing an extra point of damage, so I'm just going to attack with Caves of Chaos Adventurer here. Send them. Another Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Alright, opponent's at 15. I really wanted to play Rabblemaster into Winota. I just fully do not believe that is correct when given the opportunity to play a second Caves of Chaos Adventurer and immediately Throne of the Dead 3, potentially becoming the Monarch. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what we hit. Honestly, not the best hits. Is this power or toughness? No, lesser power. Yeah, this was not the high roll. I can take Magus so my Winota doesn't get got. I think it's just better to take a Rabblemaster. It's a little awkward to get a Rabblemaster into a Batterskull, but I'm going to have the initiative on my turn, meaning I just get another basic land unless my opponent plays another Leonin Arbiter. And then I think I just cast Winota, and 3 Winota triggers should just easily win the game. Like Batterskull and Caldra are cool, but they're not that cool. A Source of Plowshares on my Winota. Pre-combat could be awkward. I think my opponent thinks they're dead. They say they're gonna play it out. Alright, so we'll grab that mountain. Reasonable draw. We'll drop Winota and do cool things. So there's a token. And we will have some triggers. We'll Rabblemaster that at the bottom of the stack. My opponent says, here it comes. Sure does. So we'll put this in attacking. Keep this one. Okay, the Indestructible does work now. Whiff on number 2. That's almost comical. Let's, I guess, leave that in the deck. There's a Lotus Petal. There's an Eomer. You were just a couple cards too short. If I would have stacked the triggers the other way. All right, Batterskull happens. My opponent can take out one of these. They block the Rabblemaster. Are they dead? 5, 10, 14, 18. Yeah. Or no. I think that's just lethal. It's tramples. So yeah, if my opponent blocks the Rabblemaster, they're ever so slightly better off, but I get to cast Eomer without paying its mana cost. Well, that was gross. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. Just the best place to host your deck lists online, just full period. It is. And I can say lots of nice things about them, Or I can just show you that I have 328 deck lists on this site, and I think that's about the best endorsement that I can give them. This hand is a little too mana light for my liking. I'm going to mulligan this one. I'm keeping this one. I'm just figuring out what I'm doing mana-wise. I'm just trying to decide how I feel about the Chrome Mox, because I can play Seasoned Dungeoneer on turn 1 off of these, and then have Cavern of Souls for most of my creatures afterwards, and I just have to decide, like, how much do I want to hedge versus a blue matchup immediately. If I keep the Cavern of Souls, it also lets me slow roll my hand if I see a counterspell, or sorry, if I see a blue land on turn 1, which I think I like. I think I'm going to get rid of the Chrome Mox. Basic Plains. Are we doing 60-card D&T again? Chrome Mox came back. I'm just jamming Seasoned Dungeoneer on turn 1 here. So bam. Now we'll Chrome Mox, imprint Spirit Guide, drop Lotus Petal, and take the initiative. I think I am just going to grab Mountain here. The Cavern of Souls already represents my white mana. I probably just eat Swords to Plowshares turn 1. Yep. But that's fine. Like, I still have the initiative. I have a follow-up creature to play. I get to scry 2 as well. Ooh. The Stompy deck. Sure. You may make my Winota more expensive. That's okay. I'm hoping not to play Winota next turn anyway. It's somewhat rare for these decks to be playing Swords to Plowshares in game 1, notably. The Vigilant creature is going to be quite good against me. It's a 3/3 base stat line with Vigilance, so some of my 2/2 creatures like Goblin Rabblemaster and such aren't the best. Ooh, no. Absolutely not. Yeah, we're looking for something like that. We'll go human. All right. Real choice, Arena or Stash. I think it's Arena. If my opponent doesn't have another removal spell, taking out this Anointed Peacekeeper is pretty important. Like, some portion of the time my opponent just has another removal spell and this does nothing, but in the times where this works, it is a huge play because it allows me to, like, actually play my Winota and takes a creature off the board. This is rare. Arena is, at least the way that I tend to play this deck, the one that I visit least frequently. And we've had 2 situations this league where I either used it or heavily considered using it. Wasteland's fine. Like, if my opponent is not actively doing things with their own mana, that is a boon for me. Okay. Would I like to draw a card or make a 4/1? I think I would like a 4/1, but it's pretty close. Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Hopefully I hit a land here. Ooh, I hit... it's a soul land even. That's disgustingly good. The opponent's at 15, and I get to just immediately Throne of the Dead 3. I don't think I need to tell you that we're very far ahead. Look at the old top 10 here. It's pretty hard to turn down Eomer here. Boom. All right, which one's first? Target player becomes the monarch. Me? You? So please take 7 to your face. Yeah, so you remember when I talked about this card being good if it had like 2 counters? What about 5? Yeah. Yeah. So now we're racing. I do not want Chalice of the Void in my deck list. I do want Fury in my deck list. The cards from there are a little harder. Like, Cast into the Fire is a little fringe in terms of actually answering an opposing creature. Magus of the Moon can sometimes do weird things to my opponent's mana base. The same is true of my own mana base, though. Is this game enough of a raw race that I play Mindbreak Trap when I'm on the draw? Like, Cast into the Fire mostly exiles Chrome Mox, and occasionally makes combat a little weird. I assume my opponent's deck has hedged enough against Orcish Bowmasters that, like, Cast Into the Fire isn't going to be killing a ton of their creatures. I think when I'm on the draw, I'm going to play 2 Mindbreak traps in these final slots, and occasionally it's awkward with Chrome Mox imprinting. But I think this is, like, my opening hand versus your opening hand, and a lot of times one of us is running over the other. This is not good enough. Just full stop. This is not strong enough. This is strong enough. My mana's awkward, but this is a strong enough hand that I think I can keep it. And what my opponent plays on turn 1 drastically changes how this game ends up going. What is that? Coppercoat Vanguard. Okay. So I specifically didn't board in Cast Into the Fire because I expected my opponent would be off of this card. I guess this is a different way to hedge against what's going on over there. By over there, I mean with Orcish Bowmasters. So I think seeing this, I now don't play Mindbreak Trap in Game 3 if we go to Game 3. This is 2 more to cast. Oh, Magic is so hard. I have Archon of Emeria to think about in regards to this Arid Mesa. And playing Lilia into Winota is not guaranteed. I think I am just gonna take a little bit of damage this turn. Pay 2 life. Kind of awkwardly put Lilia under here. And then I have 4 mana for Seasoned Dungeoneer 100% of the time next turn, even if Archon of Emeria comes out. 4 mana? Okay, Anointed Peacekeeper. Buffs humans, right? Yep. I assume my opponent names Seasoned Dungeoneer here, but yeah. I take 3. I'm at 15, which is really 13. So my opponent has shown me Wasteland, right? That was this match, I think. If that's the case, this is probably a basic. Grab Plains. We pay 2 life for Winota, but Winota saves 3 life on attack most of the time. Say most of the time, because this could happen. Palace Jailer, sure. That's pretty good. I think that probably wins this game for my opponent. Unless something weird happens. Yeah, like I can stay alive at 1, but I don't have a path to victory after that. All right. We are on the draw. So I will kind of reluctantly play Cast Into the Fire. I don't think it's particularly good. I think it's better than Magus of the Moon barely. This can make a turn 1 threat, but then has 0 ability to have a follow-up play. I don't like that. Oh no. This is a hand that's dead to like Source of Plowshares or Solitude. How am I feeling about that? Because it's this or 5. So essentially, I go Chrome Mox, Imprint, City, Lilia, attack. I have a 3/3 that kind of draws a card every turn. I'm going to keep it, and I'm unhappy. But this is larger than my opponent's initial blockers, even if they put a 3/3 into play on turn 1. All right. Imprint, good card. Play slightly less good card. But this feels like it's a matchup that is fully about speed. So I accept. Don't swords me, please. Alright, so they've got the swords. They're just sitting here. They don't have the swords. Cool. Chrome Mox, what a cruel joke. Alright. Yep. We're chilling. And it doesn't feel good. Why did they pause on my upkeep then? What could they possibly have? I'm not sure. Yes, that's fine. Yeah, they're just randomly pausing in my upkeep again. Thank you, Chrome Mox. I appreciate you constantly showing up to support me. Fuck! Come on, guys! Alright. Pass turn. So my Lilia hits have been 3 mana sources, and my draws have been mana sources as well. What trash on top of my library sleeps? Okay. Don't play this card in Legacy, folks. Don't do it. Yeah, that's annoying, but I don't actually think a problem. What are you doing, opponent? Respectfully, what are you doing? God damn it, deck. I'm going to be so upset if I lose. What the fuck? Run the numbers on this. Run the goddamn numbers on this. This is insane. So that's 4, 5, 6. That is 7 mana sources in a row. All right. Okay. All right. My opponent takes the initiative. Going to fucking lose to the Eagles of the... What? Going to lose to the goddamn Eagles of the North deck. Because there were no reasonable cards in the top 10 cards of my library. All right. Yeah. Second main phase. Do a Goblin Rabblemaster. Let me draw a Winota for fucking justice next turn, please. Forge is kind of annoying here. That Seasoned Dungeoneer starts to get large quickly. We'll see. I think it's also very reasonable that my opponent goes to Lost Well to scry for a Palace Jailer to take my Lilia out of play. But they are going for the counters. Oh, they are confident enough that they are attacking. Sure. I would love to oops accidentally some damage after ripping Winota off the top. Sure. Another Seasoned Dungeoneer. Yeah, I mean, that's good. I will be at 9. Draw me a Winota. It probably wins me the game on the spot. An Eomer, which I am a mana short of doing because I have never drawn, like, anything. Oh, that's frustrating. That's very frustrating. And I'm just deterministically dead on board to Seasoned Dungeoneer. Alright, let's see if I can find a way out of this by attacking. Send them. Highly a trigger. A Seasoned Dungeoneer. Man, my opponent's so close to dead. I am a turn cycle away from killing them. Oh, okay, they had Solitude as well. Sure. We lost to the fucking deck playing Eagles of the North and Absolute Law. My shame is immeasurable. Okay, math. So if I use these 3 cards to put Goblin Rabblemaster into play, I have 1, 2, maybe 3 mana next turn for Winota Joiner of Forces. That doesn't quite math out. I think this is just like an okay 6-card hand. I'm going to try to do better. Well, this does better. It makes Caves of Chaos Adventurer on turn 1. I am keeping this. The 4-drop is currently a little awkward. So even though this is a way better creature than Goblin Rabblemaster, I'm just going to do this. And sometimes I might like draw a Winota. And if I draw a Winota, I just Rabblemaster on 1, Winota on 2. And say GG, well played. Misty Rainforest. So, would I like to slow my game down a turn? I think I would. I think I would like to just have some extra land drops in play here. And I can put Cavern on either human or warrior pretty comfortably. If I get wastelanded, I'm okay with that. Sure. Or maybe playing against a bug or 4-color control deck list. Got it. Got a lot of mana. All right. Is it human or warrior? I think it's human. And I think I just take the initiative immediately. That lets me just play another basic land next turn and then play Goblin Rabblemaster. This can be punished by something like Snapcaster Mage into removal spell on their turn. I'm just going to take another red. I already have 2 white sources as far as Winota and Seasoned Dungeoneer are concerned. Orcish Bowmasters, sure. That's reasonable. I don't mind Orcish Bowmasters. It into removal spell is not the best for me. Yeah, that I do mind. Cool. And my opponent did not play around a Goblin token, which is great for me. The Goblin Rabblemaster could eat a Force of Will. Like, that is a thing. Sure. Eomer. That is castable next turn. Uncounterably as well. Bam? Yeah, this is Force of Will if you've got it. And is this any target? It deals any target, which in this case is probably going to be a creature. I probably just take a body out of play rather than go to the dome. I'm at 13. A Leovold would be bad. Yeah, Uro's not great for me either, honestly. Got it. That is a lot of City of Traders. All right. I am the Monarch. I'll deal 2 damage to Orcish Bowmasters because I don't want that around while I am the Monarch for very, very, very obvious reasons. Oh, do you have Bolt? That's rough. Sure. Chalice, you are a turn cycle late, bud. So now my opponent has the initiative and the Monarch as the control deck, and if they can produce another green here, which they did, they also have Uro. Yeah, we can move on. Magus of the Moon looks solid. I will consider Cast Down and Fury as well. I don't really like Chalice of the Void here. My opponent's removal is just like not going to be centralized at 1, even though they did just play a Lightning Bolt. I think from here it's a little tougher. I'm currently evaluating Eomer. Like, it is a very good Winota hit for when I am on the play. Maybe I don't need Fury when I'm on the play. Like, trim one of these. Leave 1 as a Winota hit and endgame thing. The Monarch's just, again, a little awkward with Bowmasters. Yes, this is a keep. It is a very tough hand to play. In that, if I Magus of the Moon, my City of Traders is no longer a land that produces 2, so it gives my opponent time to kind of draw out of it because I don't put the pressure on. But I think since I can attempt Magus of the Moon 2 turns in a row, I just do so. All right, it's in play. Any mana source means that I can either make a second one or play a threat that starts closing out the game, which is awesome. We're hoping my opponent doesn't have anything a little wild, such as Dismember. I think I am going to just play a redundant Magus of the Moon here. And hopefully keep my opponent primarily on Lightning Bolt as an answer to my shit. I don't think this game has to be about closing as quickly as possible. Like, 4 power in play, threatening more is good. Yeah, there's a Lightning Bolt. I'm not entirely sure my opponent played that correctly in terms of timing. Like, I could have lost City of Traders if they did that slightly differently. And then I wouldn't get to... Or no, I guess I would have played this Rabblemaster this turn, but I would be down another land. I get it, though. All right. Do I want an additional Fury? Also castable on 5 mana like Eomer, not a human like Eomer, not a Winota hit like Eomer. But does help clear Orcish Bowmaster bodies, which I think is relevant. I'm not sure that I play 2. I could go down a piece of mana, but I largely just want to go fast here. I don't want the game to drag on. We are a mana source short of a good hand, I think. Go to 6. Yeah, turn 1 Cavern, turn 2 City is fine. This goes on Human, meaning I probably get rid of one of these other cards. Let's go with Lilia. Actually, If Magus resolves and stays alive, I might actually want to put back, like, Cave of Chaos Adventurers so that I have 2 3-drops that I can play off any other land. But Caves is a human. Yeah, okay. Let's do this. This hedges well in a couple of different directions. Drop is fine. So tempted to put this Cavern on Warrior, but I'm going to go human. Wasteland's very good against me if my opponent's Greed Pile is playing that. Not today. Spirit Guide. Quite good. I think we just start here. It's vulnerable to a Sheoldred's Edict right now. But since this is on human, I think I just have to use it. Oh, shit. Unless you just have the bolt. Punishing Fire. Okay. This is an ambitious mana base. I believe would be the kind way to phrase it. Bowmasters is kind of awkward if I do this. I just take it back next turn with a token, though. So let's uncounterably take the initiative. Dress down? No. We will just be getting a red source to kind of smooth out my mana for future turns. If my opponent has Bowmasters into removal spell. Nope, it's just an edict, which is fine. Like, I'm very happy with the way this game goes if I just hold the initiative. Sure. Gives my opponent an extra land drop. We get to improve our draw quality here, which matters. Is there a world where I like Chrome Mox? I can Chrome Mox, imprint Spirit Guide, and then not have to permanently give up something to Rabblemaster. Sure. Didn't expect to top that as of the beginning of this turn, but here we are. I think this one. So we'll just War Boss. Hydroblast, sure. I'll just repeat again with Goblin Rabblemaster next turn, and then try to win the game with Winota afterwards. We're just going to keep going up the right. The extra mana is not the greatest. Not a problem either. Well, this turn, in theory, can be incredibly strong. Let's see what happens in practice. Rabble Boy. All right, here we go. Ancient Tomb. White. 2 colorless. Red. Here's Winota. There's an Assassin's Trophy on my Goblin. I will pick up a Plains. My Winota is in play. Catacombs is coming. Sure. What colors is this? Got it. Bug Triome confirmed. Another Assassin's Trophy. Yeah. I'll pick up a mountain. Yeah, if my opponent's not contesting the initiative, I just tick towards Throne of the Dead 3 while making extra bodies. Although this one could get eaten by a Bowmasters. A War Boss. Okay. Send him. Attack for 1. Throne of the Dead 3 representing a Winota with a hexproof counter on it. Or sorry, it gets 3 counters and then is temporarily hexproof. Would be gross and just immediately end the game. All right, I'm out of basics. You win. You get that one. And then we see how wild this shit gets. I think this is just optimal. With 2 things already in play, and with this being hexproof, nice. We won't. Do I do it now because of Eomer, actually? Seems good. Magus? Sure. So now there's no ability to stop whatever is about to happen. Whiff? Oh, that's awkward. I think I like the 7/7 version. Okay. I mean, that's unfortunate. The whiff on 12 looks. We're probably okay outside of something weird like a Damnation or Pernicious Deed, though. Sure, you may loot. This is just whenever it attacks, right? Yeah, it doesn't say where. Okay. Grove Punishing Fire is a thing, but this is just 7, 11, 12 damage. We will ignore Dackfaden. We will not search. Hydroblast the Winota, sure. Or, sorry, the search is not optional. That does shuffle some Winotas back into our deck. 1 damage, 2 target creatures. Got it. Okay. Then I will kill the Dackfaden and attack you. Alright, fantastic. Punishing Fire is a thing. So is Scry 2 off of Lost Well, though. My situation's not the best. I can't forge and reasonably go down the left side here. Lost Well. Bottom. Yeah, I mean, I am into just casting that card. I only get 1 damage in this turn. Yep. Opponent's at 10. Cast a Spirit Guide. The goal here is to just tax my opponent's mana and resources while the initiative ticks towards a second copy of Throne of the Dead 3. We have Cast into the Fire to deal with Orcish Bowmasters, which would be my opponent's easiest way of going and taking the initiative from me. Yep. We'll continue down the right side, I think. Maybe drawing a card off Archives is better than the 4-1 that taxes my opponent 3 total mana. No, let's keep the pressure on the mana up, because all I want to do is not let them stick a creature that matters. It's awkward that this is a 2-2. Oh well. Opponent should not let me go to the attack step here. Yep. So playing the Lilia allows me to get in 1 point of damage with the Goblin token, and while that doesn't sound like a lot, every point of damage just matters so much right now in this situation where I am just trying to close out the game. And again, if my opponent's resources go towards stopping onboard bodies, they are not stopping stuff that matters. Oh, Cavern's cool. Not insane or anything, but it's cool. Alright, my opponent takes the damage. I'll pass the turn. Yep. Goodbye, Skelly. No threat from my opponent means that I do get to Throne of the Dead 3, which is presumably a very large problem. Just Seasoned Dungeoneer, it's hard to block, and it's probably lethal next turn. Caves of Chaos Adventurer is interesting. I think I just like this. Yep. We are very much out of basic lands after that pile of Assassin's Trophies. Is there anything other than Warrior I would like to name? This is a Spirit Warrior. This is Goblin Soldiers, Goblin Warriors. We don't just play it here. Let's, again, force mana use on the Goblin token. Yep. Goodbye, Goblin. Alright, still no threat. The opponent is 25 cards deep into their deck and hasn't found... Let's see, so the Punishing Fire is currently in their hand. I think I just scry. I think I don't have to worry about too much. Yeah, these are cards that put power into play, so they are reasonable draws. So we now put a Cavern on Goblin and give my opponent more to think about. Punishing Fire is fine. Send them. I pick Seasoned Dungeoneer. It is another Assassin's Trophy. Bowmasters is fine. We've been waiting for this all game. So we'll go ahead and kill that. Sure. If I get punished for not attempting to put a +1/+1 counter on Winota by double Punishing Fire happening, or Punishing Fire plus Lightning Bolt. Now that I don't have an answer for Orcish Bowmasters, I kind of like going diagonal. Oh, great. Just continue to tax opponent's mana, potentially stopping some nonsense that stops them from also answering Winota. Alright, are you dead? It is an Orcish Bowmasters. That contests the initiative. This is fine. So now it just becomes, can my opponent answer the Winota? If they can answer the Winota while having the initiative, my life's pretty bad. Ooh, they are holding back. Sure. Let's archives to draw a card. A little awkward. What is this? Yep. But we're just going to pass the turn here. And play around Punishing Fire, killing Winota. Great. Opponent attacks in with both. I will let you take the initiative. They're just basically dead if they don't. Punishing Fire in hand. Punishing Fire in hand. Punishing Fire returns, gets Winota. Sure. I guess by not catacombing, I put them in that position. Oh well. Uncounterable, Throne of the Dead 3. Just get caves. Or get Rabblemaster and start going wide. I think just get caves. Just get 2 large creatures in play. Obviously don't have any basic lands at this point. And with this in graveyard, Seasoned Dungeoneer is probably not eating it to that trigger. And the Caves of Chaos Adventure lets us cast whatever for free. I don't think I played this one perfectly. Oh, that's interesting. I think I played it well enough. I think at this point I just forge and then I kill them pretty much always the following turn with trap. I think there were some diverging lines in that game. GG's. Okay, I'm going to be keeping my hand here. And it is unclear how I am supposed to play this game. I'm hoping to get information from my opponent's turn 1 play to inform my decision, and I did. Almost always against Underground Sea, I'm going to want to lead on Chalice. And I can even do Chalice around Days here. There's an awkward situation that could happen where my opponent is just like Doomsday and has Cabal Ritual into Doomsday or Lotus Petal into Doomsday, and then I'm not quite fast enough to Goldfish them because I didn't play Rabblemaster on 1. But, like, Chalice covers a wide range of decks here, or gets initial interaction out of my opponent's hand. Either one of those things I'm good with. Alright. Troll Cycle, sure. So we are probably playing against either a blue-black shadow deck list or a scam deck list of some kind. Yep. So the Chalice is nice because it stops Reanimate from happening, which is a huge deal. A, because Troll is in the graveyard, and B, because reanimating my Seasoned Dungeoneer is rude. Arid Mace is a little awkward. I don't necessarily want to get Plateau, but I do currently require both colors, and I have multiple white cards in hand. Yeah. Ooh, okay. That means the Arid Mesa is slightly less likely to just get destroyed. We'll drop this and pass, and hopefully we've bought ourselves a good amount of time. It's unclear whether or not I should play around Days. Never mind. Clarity has been achieved. Let's fetch. I'm just going to get a basic Plains, I think, as I'm hopefully about to get a basic Mountain out of my deck as well. Dungeoneer. That's an island cycle. Finding a new Underground Sea. Okay, we're in play, which is great. Grab a mountain and pass. This is going to be a lot of power on board if unchecked. Sheoldred's Edict. That's fine. We will scry. Those are cards. Eomer goes on bottom. What about Lilia? I could play Lilia this turn around Days into Winota next turn. Winota would be dazeable except for Stash. Okay, yeah, no, this is fine. I will use my Lotus Petal though. Lilia. Alright, we're in the clear. Life's good, folks. Chromox? No? Maybe? Wish I could make this decision next turn, but I can't. A lot of this is like, does my opponent spike something like a Murktide Regent naturally that can threaten my creature in combat? In which case I need Seasoned Dungeoneer. Alright, I am going to give up the cool Winota Dream, and I hate doing that. But I think being able to just, like, drop Seasoned Dungeoneer and friends around days for the rest of the game is just very nice. Warrior is one of the things on this, right? Yep, it is. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Already playing around days and have Spirit Guide to boot. Is the extra counter here worth potentially giving up a card from Lilia? This is kind of like an extra card anyway. Okay. I've made my decision. Sauron's Ransom. I think I do face up Bowmaster and land versus 2 face down cards that are just dead. They don't care if my opponent takes the face up pile, and if they take the face down pile, it's very good for me. They took the face down pile, get got. Yeah. It's rough. Okay. Things that I can think about are Magus of the Moon, Cast into the Fire, Fury, and to a lesser extent, Surgical Extraction. I don't know that relying on Chalice of the Void when I'm on the draw, I don't know if that's really going to be the best idea. My opponent went for mono Underground Seas in game 1 against me, and if they're going to do that play pattern for the next game, Magus of the Moon is quite good. But that's a play pattern thing, not necessarily a matchup thing. If I board out Chalice and don't board in Surgical, I'm like really not the best against Reanimate on an initiative creature. I guess Fury helps. Like if I do this, this hedges against Bowmaster taking the initiative from me, while the Furies give me some ability to take out a Seasoned Dungeoneer, Caves of Chaos Adventurer that's reanimated. I guess even Winota is relevant. Eomer is an insane amount of damage for this matchup. But I kind of think that Magus of the Moon steals a game just as hard while being more hard castable. This hand is slow. It is a lot of Goblin Rabblemaster. But without the ability to play one on turn 1, I don't know if this is good enough. Like if my opponent griefs me and takes this Lotus Petal, I don't even have a turn 2 play. And I'm still bad against Wasteland? Yeah, okay. I've talked myself into a mulligan. Alright, would I like a 6-card hand with stable mana, or a 5-card hand that has higher upside? If I get griefed, it's game over with this hand. I'm basically hoping to draw exactly Winota. And that's a turn 3 play. Yeah, okay. So this is 5. So that's probably... Actually, it's probably Chrome Mox over Lotus Petal. Like, City, Chrome Mox, Imprint Lilia, play Lilia, keep another... the hands a keep. Caves always goes back. And then it's, do I keep a follow-up threat, or do I keep the Lotus Petal in case Chrome Mox gets griefed or thought seized? I think I awkwardly have to keep the mana. But then, like, sometimes this Chrome Mox is a dead card because I don't actually imprint. Yeah, we'll see. Oh, God. Okay. So, with second Lotus Petal as the draw, I don't believe that I immediately Chrome Mox. Because I can still play a follow-up 3-drop. Force of Will. I accept. Alright, so... Wasteland would be bad. Alright, we dodged that. Yeah, okay. That could have gone way worse. Like a Reanimate would have been pretty bad. Wasteland would have been terrible. At least get to attempt Lilia on my turn. My opponent forced the first one. Okay. So, I don't actually have Lilia into Winota. I believe that I am supposed to hold this Lotus Petal for a future where I need to play around days or play a more relevant 4-drop, but like if I sacrifice this Lotus Petal, I'm temporarily locked out of Winota while having a city in play, a second Force of Will. Okay. What has been pitched to these? Brainstorm, Sauron's Ransom. Okay. We have hedged for some mana, but Murktide Region is in play, which probably just wins my opponent the game. Old. Old is the answer. It's very hard for me to win here. Sure. Eat 8 at 12. If I play this, take 8. I can't Winota because Winota is a human warrior. I can't do this. No, I couldn't draw both Ancient Tomb and Winota anyway. Okay. Dead. I accept. Don't want to do anything differently for the game that I'm on the play. Like, another Magus is cool for the game that I'm on the play. I can maybe go down 1 Fury. It's kind of a no on a speed axis. Like, this is just maybe turn 3 Magus of the Moon while not being able to cast into the fire. Let's ship this. I am keeping this. Probably getting rid of cast into the fire. My opponent is on 4 cards. Did they just have bad hands, or do they just always want Force of Will or Magus of the Moon? Also, how the F do I play my turn 1? Turn 1's actually, like, surprisingly tough. I think it is just Petal City Magus, and then I keep Spirit Guide, but that doesn't let me cast Winota if Magus does stick around, which makes me want to do this, but that drops a body that is castable easily if Magus does resolve. So yeah. Alright, opponent's on 4 cards. Let's do Lotus Petal, City, Spirit Guide for Magus. It's in play. And we'll see if this is just game over. You have a basic swamp. You do have a basic swamp. It is not game over. Basic Plains is a decent draw for me. I am happy with that. Opponent's at 18. Drop a land and pass. I have Winota next turn, but this is a human, so I don't immediately have Winota triggers. Oof, it stings to grief in this position, or 2 cards. Like, that's rough. You have a Reanimate. They do have a Reanimate. Okay. So, I will take the initiative. Get a basic mountain. This wizard. Cleric, rogue, warrior, or wizard. Human wizard. Swing. Get another mountain, which is reasonable. Now, my opponent could attack me and get a basic island out of their deck and break out from under this, but they played out a Polluted Delta as their land drop prior to searching, which is a mistake if they have a basic island, which they do. That could be a costly mistake. Oh, that draws insane. That's so good. So, this is not dazeable. My opponent doesn't control an island. I take the initiative back. I go to Forge. I forge up Magus of the Moon to make it better again. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, in the hypothetical world where my opponent has a Daze in hand, playing Polluted Delta first main before taking the initiative and getting that island could have cost them this whole match because they don't get to Daze this, and then both of these creatures get to attack in, can't be ambushed by something like Orcish Bowmasters. Yeah, little things matter. Okay, how do I feel about this hand? It's not Turbo. It's turn 2 War Boss, and then it can't actually play Seasoned Dungeoneer or Caves of Chaos Adventure afterwards. If I'm playing against a slow deck, like a slow control deck, it is perfectly reasonable to keep this hand, and if I'm not, and gets overrun, I think I'm gonna fish, given how much upside there are to hands in this deck. So this one's tough. I don't have enough mana with this hand. I have a very good turn 2 play, and I can attempt it again. If Chalice is good in this matchup, this buys a lot of time for me to set up something meaningful. I think I'm going to keep this one. I think I'm going to keep the secondary Chalice, hoping that Chalice is important in the matchup. And this is going to sound a little weird. I'm actually going to throw back Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I think there's a good chance that I fall behind on board with this hand if I use maybe turn 2 or turn 3 to Chalice. And I don't think I want to introduce the initiative to the game when I think I am going to be behind on board. Shit. Yeah, okay. So my hand sucks for any sort of Chalice Mirror of any kind and just got worse. I'm not going to play a Chalice on 0 because I would like my own artifact mana here. And if my opponent has some sort of Lotus Petal Chrome Mox stuff, there's a decent chance it gets played out on turn 1. Alright, we've got some sort of pseudo mirror. Okay. First tough decision of the game. Do I play Goblin Rabblemaster? I think the answer is yes. Again, Human Warrior, Goblin Warrior. I think I do this so that I can potentially contest the initiative on future turns, and so that Ancient Tomb or City of Traders represents Winota next turn, because 3 Winota triggers probably wins me the game even through an initiative creature. And I think I'm playing towards upside. Okay, you've chaliced on 0. That's fine. I was not willing to do that. Alright, that is a Caves of Chaos Adventurer. That's fine. Like, we're comfortable attacking into that. Lilia, not a great draw. We're literally just looking for mana here. Alright. Make a critter. I am comfortable trading Rabblemaster for Caves of Chaos Adventurer, if that's something that my opponent wants to do. I think they probably just block a token. Ooh, they trade these. Perfectly happy with that. We'll grab a basic plane, in case my opponent has game 1 Magus of the Moon. This is a Spirit Warrior. Any land is triple Lilia triggers next turn. There's a good chance my opponent has another initiative creature. Fury would be a blowout because I have exactly 4 power in play. This is a Cavern on Human, though. So they don't innately have red. Forge is good. Yep. Alright, there's Plateau. Let's try to win the game, huh? Make a blue mana just to scare them. No Solitude, please? No Solitude. Alright. Winota triggers X3. Seasoned Dungeoneer. I will go to... Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, we won that game. We won that game despite keeping a hand where, like, we were basically only winning if Chalice of the Void was good. And my opponent also kind of kept a hand where they were hedging on Chalice of the Void being good. So we awkwardly stared at each other for a while. I don't know if I win if my opponent doesn't trade with Goblin Rabblemaster. Like, that trade gave me a lot of breathing room. I don't know. I don't know what my opponent's hand is there. I can't evaluate how good that trade was. All right, 4x Chalice of the Void out. 2x Fury in. And then, like, again, it's, do I want to hedge while being on the draw to Mindbreak Trap and stop some of the absolutely insane Chrome Mox Lotus Petal openers that my opponent could have? Or do I just want to play a mediocre human like Magus of the Moon? Or a mediocre card like Cast into the Fire? I think I am gonna awkwardly play 2 Mindbreak Trap while on the draw. Like, it's one of the things that can save me against the openers that I would have the hardest time beating. Alright. This is turn 2 Rabblemaster. I don't take the initiative super well. I think this is weaker than a Soul Land hand. Alright. I am going to keep this hand. And I'm going to explain why, because this is like a crazy person keep. If my opponent has their best possible hands that attempts to create an initiative creature on turn 1, I get to say no to that. And I leave myself 8 looks at an Ancient Tomb to have a turn 2 Seasoned Dungeoneer. I think both of those things happening simultaneously is enough for me to go like, yes, this is fine. Is this always going to pan out? No, but the game on the draw is just going to be tough regardless. So I think I'm looking to high roll. I apparently had a hard time choosing. All right, storm count's 1. Storm count is 2, so this does not work. That's fine. We will go plateau and pass. It's not like this hand is much different. If this is a red card that just imprints under Chrome Mox, still just behind. Looted away 2 mana sources, because this just represents mana, so that makes sense to me. We're not that behind right now. Soul land into initiative creature would be pretty bad. Yeah, that's still pretty bad. I think if I miss, I just concede. I guess I can technically take one more draw step. But I think once this token is active, it becomes incredibly difficult for me to win. Because my opponent with multiple reflections of Kiki Jikis can just like make a bunch of tokens at my end step and then just swing out and kill me the following turn. Or do disgusting things with Fury. This bonus 2 mana is absolutely brutal. I kept a hand that let me high roll 2 different ways, and I did not high roll either way. I have no regrets. Well, actually, I kind of have some regrets. I'll talk about that in sideboarding, though. Or sorry, in the like debrief at the end. Yeah, with an initiative creature to now copy, I will throw in the towel. When I'm on the play, I'm less interested in this and more interested in having one more red card to imprint. I guess Magus of the Moon. But, like, obviously not what I'm looking for. Just raw turn 1 Rabble, turn 2 War Boss. Hope my opponent doesn't have Fury. I'm in. Tomb. Petal. I am not going to have a bunch of agency this game, folks. This is just, are these cards together good enough? All right, opponent's at 19. Okay, not a soul land is, I guess, good for me. Sure. Okay. Opponent might have a removal spell. Let's just kind of keep that in mind. I don't think there's any realistic reason why I have to commit to a Cavern of Souls here. Let's just send them. Swing. What are you doing? A Containment Priest. Sure. That's fine. Like, that Lotus Petal is an incredibly valuable commodity right now. Are you going to block a token? Yeah, I didn't think so. All right. So I have no castable spells currently. A lot of this rides on, like, does my opponent have any more fast mana? If they're just making, like, a plateau land drop or something, I'd probably overrun them. And Winota is just the absolute dream. Okay, there is a mana accelerator, but that, okay, they needed that Lotus Petal, because this doesn't let them cast a lot of their cards. Sure, a Seasoned Dungeoneer. This is okay. Give me Winota off the top to end the video, though. Mountain. Okay. I just attack with all my tokens here. Just trade 1 token for the initiative to draw a card. An opponent is on Ancient Tomb for mana, which matters a lot. I mean, I guess I am too, but I kind of get this first attack step here. So we won't attack with War Boss. I don't want to throw away that body in particular. Opponent can decide which goblin art they don't like and kill one of them. Sure. I'll grab the basic plains. Make that as my land drop, not let my opponent know that got a handful of nonsense. Again, hoping to dodge a removal spell like Fury. Fury going just 1, 2, 3, 4, leaving me with a single goblin token and 4 lands is game over. My opponent's got another Seasoned Dungeoneer. I think they're supposed to attack first. I think you attack, take the initiative naturally, and then go another layer deeper. Like, I think the layer deeper matters more than 2 points of damage immediately. Alright, they're going the aggro side rather than the selection side. Okay, it is a Caves of Chaos Adventurer. They're just trying to leave me dead on my turn. Okay. Yep. My own Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Alright, math time. If I attack and my opponent blocks Legion War Boss, they take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They make 1 token, I train 1 token. I forge, that doesn't matter. I then trap and kill my opponent. So what beats me? Solitude? Solitude on this pre-combat would be me getting in 2 damage. That would beat me. Okay. Let's hope they don't have that. Send them. Mentor a token. Got it. Opponent's at 4. Forge up some critter. Human. I go to 6. And trap you. That do it? That does it. We 4-1. And honestly, folks, I feel like this is a 5-0 in my heart because the only reason this isn't a 5-0 is our top of the library just contained, I think, literally 10 mana sources in a row. All right, so how are we feeling about the deck? Eomer came in hot a couple of times. The Monarch can be a little bit risky, just like the Initiative is, but the raw power that this represents off of Winota is absolutely just wild. Because it represents card draw, a huge double striking body, and direct damage to the face. And we saw an Eomer with 5 counters on it in one of those games. Like, my initial thought of like, okay, well, what if it has 2 counters? Like, we evaluated that card, it's already good, and in practice it was better than I thought in a lot of cases. Now, at the same time, like, when you draw it, it is a 5 mana card, which can be awkward on City of Traders openers, especially when, like, you stop at 4 mana for some of this stuff. So it's not like playing the card is free. I never sat there thinking, like, what if I had 4th Aerlingas, or what if I had Fable of the Mirrorbreaker in my deck? You know, the looting would have been nice in the Lilia Flood game from hell, but, you know, I can step back and go like, all right, that was a statistical anomaly. Like, that's okay. Decklist felt good. I do feel like I want 1 more card for fair 2 more cards for fair matchups. Like, when I board Chalice of the Void out because I'm in some creature mirror, if Cast into the Fire isn't particularly good, or Magus of the Moon isn't particularly good, like, it just feels awkward. Which is, like, kind of why I ended up boarding in awkward Mindbreak traps in a couple of matchups, because I just, like, didn't feel like these cards were doing everything that I wanted them to be doing. But I'm gonna trust our donor who has more reps in with this, and they said they had some paper success with it as well. So maybe the in-out numbers work out pretty well across the board, but it feels a touch awkward to me. Like, I understand, like, having 2 Cast into the Fire and 2 Meltdown so you have greater coverage versus artifact decks matters a lot, and, like, this answering Bowmasters is cool. But yeah, I enjoyed playing this one a lot. Let me know down in the comments below kind of what your thoughts are, if you have any strong feelings about this or the Winota shell. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and if you need to pick up any paper magic cards, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. All right, see ya!